A senior Indian diplomat on the show now. Prabhu Dayalji joins us from Gurugram. Welcome, sir, to the program. Well, China has firmly opposed Washington's approval of the sale of parts and components in a military sale to Taiwan. Could China's strong opposition manifest in more concrete and provocative action in the coming days?
Well, Tanvi, first of all, thanks for having me on your show. Now, the United States has made it very clear that it is bound by its Taiwan Relations Act of 1979 to provide Taiwan with arms of a defensive character. Now, yesterday, as you pointed out, the US approved the sale to Taiwan of parts for fighter jets and other aircraft for about $330 million. And the US has said that the proposed sale will improve Taiwan's capability to meet current and future threats by maintaining the operational readiness of its fleet of F-16 and C-30 and other aircraft. Now, as you pointed out, this was the first such transaction since President Trump took office in January. And it would be recalled that when Trump and the Chinese President Xi Jinping had met last month in South Korea in an effort to secure a trade deal, there were fears that for securing the trade deal, there could be some sort of selling out of Taiwan's interests by Trump to Xi. It would also be recalled, that in September this year, Trump had declined to approve $400 million in military aid to Taiwan while negotiating on trade and also talking about a potential summit with the Chinese president. Therefore, Taiwan has welcomed and expressed gratitude for the proposed US arms sales. But the Chinese Foreign Ministry spokesman has said that the Taiwan question is the core of China's interests and that it is a red line that must not be crossed in China-US relations. Now, China claims Taiwan as its own territory, and it has not ruled out the use of force to take control of the island. On the other hand, Taiwan strongly objects to Beijing's sovereignty claims and says that only Taiwan's people can decide their future. So in this background, the potential for escalation is a constant concern for the region, and US policy becomes an important factor.
Okay, but why is it that Washington has for long maintained strategic ambiguity when it comes to whether it would deploy its military to defend Taiwan from a possible Chinese attack?
Well, US policy towards Taiwan is defined by, as you put it, strategic ambiguity, which aims to deter both a Chinese invasion and a Taiwanese declaration of independence. The US deliberately does not state whether it would intervene militarily if China attacked Taiwan. And this ambiguity is intended to deter, as I said, China from attacking and to prevent Taiwan from unilaterally declaring independence. Now, even though the US does not formally recognize Taiwan as an independent state, it maintains unofficial ties through organizations like the American Institute in Taiwan, or the AIT, which functions as a de facto embassy. Now, the Taiwan Relations Act, the TRA, which was passed by the United States Congress in 1979, mandates that the US provide Taiwan with defensive arms and maintain the capacity to resist any resort to force that would jeopardize Taiwan's security. Now, the US acknowledges the PRC's position, that is China's position, that there is one China and that Taiwan is part of China. However, the US does not explicitly endorse the Chinese claim of sovereignty over Taiwan. So this ambiguity has increased Taiwan's uncertain sort of outlook, and it feels quite threatened by China. But at the same time, the US has increased military cooperation with Taiwan, though it doesn't have a permanent military presence there. This sort of cooperation has included joint exercises and training. And also a core part of the US policy is to provide Taiwan with arms of a defensive character. And this deal that was announced yesterday is part of this overall US policy.
Okay, Prabhu Dayalji, could you tell us something of the economic and strategic importance of Taiwan to the United States?
Well, Taiwan has steadily built its economic relevance, not just for the United States, but a whole host of other countries too, including Japan. And it has tried to further its economic relations with India too. Taiwan is a highly developed economy and is in a position to reach out and make itself wanted in a positive way by other countries. So with the United States also, the Taiwanese have built strong economic relations and increased their relevance. And of course, it is not going to be at all sort of certain in the near future, but the Chinese keep saying that they have an interest in having sovereignty over Taiwan, though frankly, Taiwan has never been part of the PRC. When the PRC was founded in 1949, Taiwan was not part of it. So both sides are continuing to stake their claims and emphasize their own position.
On what grounds does Beijing claim sovereignty over all of Taiwan then?
Because of the fact that it was once upon a time part of China. That is before the communist takeover and before the setting up of the People's Republic of China. So the Chinese say that it is legitimate for them to have sovereignty over Taiwan, but Taiwan from the beginning has made it very clear that there is no way that it is going to accept Beijing's sovereignty over itself. So this dispute, it continues. And while Washington maintains that arms sales like the ones that have been approved yesterday are a part of a long-standing policy, military sales remain a very recurring source of friction in the very complex US-China relationship and the equally complex China-Taiwan relationship. And let me mention that China has been conducting war drills near Taiwan. And these drills have included naval and air force patrols. So the message that the Chinese are trying to send out is a sort of a warning, a stern warning about what it views as separatism. So the drills serve to demonstrate capabilities for a potential blockade or invasion. And recent drills have involved sending numerous military aircraft, warships and Coast Guard vessels to surround Taiwan. So the situation is very tense in that region. And
can it now also create friction? Can it now also create friction between China and Japan relationship?
Yes, it is poised to become, because the Japanese have come out very strongly in support of Taiwan. And I think there is a clear cut policy that has been enunciated that the Japanese will go the full distance when it comes to supporting Taiwan. So I think that the tensions in that region are poised to escalate.
All right. On that note, we leave it here for now. Taiwan is getting a boost in their defense arsenal. Thank you very much, Prabhu Dayalji, for being with us on the show.
Thank you.